Out here, the right knot can mean a secure shelter, a lifted load, or a safe extraction. In the next few minutes, I'll show you 5 knots that cover shelter, hauling, rescue, lashing, and climbing assists. And I'll share one common mistake that makes even good knots fail. Stick around for a 60-second practice drill at the end that locks these into muscle memory. If you're into bushcraft, prepping, or just want to be ready when gear fails, knots are force multipliers. A few feet of cord and the right technique can turn chaos into control. From stabilizing a shelter in a storm to raising heavy gear without a winch. The problem? Most people know a dozen knots, and none well. Today, we'll fix that by mastering 5 that cover nearly every survival task. Bowline, a fixed loop that won't slip. Legendary rescue knot. Clove hitch, a quick tie for posts and poles. Taut line hitch, an adjustable tensioner for shelters. Trucker's hitch, your mechanical advantage for high-tension lashings. Prusik knot, a friction hitch that grips when loaded, useful for hauling and emergency ascending. One of these knots lets you triple your pulling power with just cord. Guess which? We'll prove it in a minute. Knot number 1. Bowline, fixed loop, rescue. Why it matters? The bowline gives you a fixed, non-slipping loop that's easy to untie after load. Perfect for rescue loops, securing to waist, anchoring guy lines, or hanging food bags. How to tie, classic method. Make a small overhand loop in the standing part. The rabbit hole. Pass the working end up through the hole. Rabbit out of the hole. Wrap around the standing part. Rabbit around the tree. Go back down through the loop, rabbit into the hole. Dress. Snug up the loop. Ensure the collar sits clean around the standing part. Pro tips. For rescue or slick rope, add a Yosemite finish or tie a backup half hitch on the standing part. Size the loop before setting. Bowlines don't self-adjust. Use cases, emergency belt, shelter corner loop, bear bag anchor, dragging logs by a loop. In a moment, we'll create a knot that tightens a tarp without hardware. But it works best when your anchor starts with a bowline. Knot number 2, clove hitch, quick tie to posts, poles. Why it matters. The clove hitch shines for fast attachment to a tree, stake, or pole. Great for starting ridge lines, hanging tools, or temporary lashings. It grips under steady load, but can slip with intermittent or side-to-side force, so back it up as needed. How to tie, around a post. Wrap the rope once around the post. Cross over the standing part and wrap again, forming an X. Tuck the working end under the last wrap next to the X. Dress by cinching both wraps so they bite evenly. Fast air method. Make 2 loops in the rope. Flip the second over the first to form an interlocking pair, then drop onto the post and pull tight. Backups. Add a half hitch or finish with a constrictor knot for a more permanent bite. Use cases. Quick tarp ridgeline start, hanging a lantern, securing a paddle or trekking pole. Up next, the hitch that slides to tension your shelter and locks when you need it most. Knot number 3, taut line hitch, adjustable shelter, tension. Why it matters. The taut line hitch is your built-in tensioner, ideal for guy lines on tarps and tents. It slides to adjust slack, then locks under load, keeping shelters tight through temp drops and wind. How to tie? Wrap the working end twice around the standing line inside the loop, toward the anchor. Make 1 wrap outside the loop, away from the anchor. Dress. Snug the inside wraps neatly. The outer wrap should sit clean. Slide the hitch to tension the line. Pull to set. It should hold. Make it bomb-proof. In rain or with slick cord, Turn the 2 inside wraps into 3. Or use a midshipman's hitch variation for extra grip. Use cases, tarp corners, tent guy lines, drying line that can be tightened as clothes add weight. Troubleshooting. If it creeps, your wraps are messy or facing the wrong way. Reset and dress. What if you need a line banjo string tight to lash down a canoe or secure a load? The next knot gives you a pulley effect from thin air. Knot number 4, trucker's hitch, ridgeline shelter setup. Why it matters. In the bushcraft world, the trucker's hitch is the go-to for setting up a tarp ridgeline that stays tight even through wind and rain. Think of it as your field pulley system, but instead of strapping cargo, you're creating a shelter backbone strong enough to hang gear, shed water, and stand up to storms. How to tie ridgeline method. 1. Wrap the rope around your first tree and secure with a clove hitch or bowline. 2. Stretch the line to your second tree. At about arm's length back, tie a slip knot or alpine butterfly loop to form a small pulley loop. 3. Wrap the working end around the second tree, then feed it back through the pulley loop. 4th, haul down on the line to tension the ridgeline. This is where the magic pulley effect kicks in. 5. Lock it off with 2 half hitches or a slipped half hitch for quick release. Pro tips. The alpine butterfly loop makes for a stronger, non-slipping pulley point than a slip knot. If you're running a tarp over the line, pitch it first before you tension down. That way, you don't have to redo your knot. Use toggle sticks, small sticks tied into loops, for quick tarp attachments along the ridgeline. Use cases, shelter ridgelines, drying lines, tarp awnings, or even securing a canoe temporarily. Now that you've got a ridgeline banjo string tight, how do you fine-tune the corners without retying everything? That's exactly where the taut line hitch comes in. Knot number 5, Prusik. Knot, friction hitch for climbing, hauling. Why it matters. The Prusik is a friction hitch that slides when unweighted and locks when loaded. In survival contexts, it shines for hauling systems, progress capture, and emergency ascending short sections of rope, with all the usual safety caveats. Gear note: use a smaller diameter cord than your main rope. About 60 to 80% of the main rope's diameter is a common guideline. A closed loop of cord, a Prusik loop, is standard. How to tie: 3-wrap classic. Pass the loop around the main rope. Feed the loop through itself, wrapping around the main rope 3 times so the coils sit neatly side by side. Dress tight, keeping coils parallel. No crossing. Slide to position, load it to lock. It should bite firmly. Variants and tips. Auto block, French Prusik, slides more easily, but may slip under heavy load. Good for backup situations. In wet, icy conditions, increase to 4 wraps for more grip. For hauling, pair 2 Prusiks as progress capture and tractor hitches. Use cases, ascending short sections with foot loop and upper Prusik, haul systems to raise food or gear. Back up to a rappel device in controlled settings. Safety reminder: do not trust a single Prusik for life-critical loads without proper systems, backups, and training. If this helped you secure a shelter, lift a load, or just feel more prepared, hit like and subscribe. Drop a comment with the knot that clicked for you, or the one you want me to cover next. I'll pin a printable cheat sheet in the description with step sequences and backup suggestions so you can practice offline. Next up, I'm planning a storm-proof tarp setup using only cord, 2 stakes, and no hardware. If you want that video, type stormproof in the comments. And remember, simple, clean, set. That's how knots become survival tools. Stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.